What's going on, everyone? So, I want to talk about practice. Practice. We're talking about practice. One of the things that was with Darvin Ham was the lack of preparation and the lack of practicing, right? Patrick Beverley, out of all people, even came out and was like, Darvin Ham apologized to me and said that, we should have practiced more. And, it's how you build the reps with the team. It's how you build the chemistry. It's how you learn the little nuances. It's how you learn how to properly make adjustments and figure out rotations and lineups and stuff. Yes, there are harder practices than others, and there's some organizations that are notorious for and coaches that are notorious for just like relentless hard workouts. Look at Tibbs, the way he runs players and practices and all that stuff. And there's coaches that are a little more lenient and aren't so heavy on practicing, and then there's the guys that are balanced, right? There are the coaches that, have, say you practice 5 days out of the week, there's 3 intense hard practices where you're really trying to hash out stuff, work on various sets and whatnot. And then there's the practices, 2 practices where you're kind of just lax, kind of just running through, walking sets and stuff like that, right? But you want the structure, you want the intensity, you want the team. And something that the Lakers are really adamant about is development, right? Well, development isn't just for the young guys. Development isn't just for the rookies coming in. Development is for the team in general. And the best way to develop guys is to get reps, is to play against each other, is to run and learn things. And one of the big pieces that I really like about JJ Redick is his preparation, is his, manic just obsession with just the work that goes into things and understanding the little nuances and, going over the numbers and what does this say? What does that say? Right. But also being willing to be open, right? JJ Redick has talked heavily about how, he wants to have this collective sort of hive mind amongst the coaches, right? I get that there are concerns about JJ Redick. Obviously, never been a head coach, right? So there are those inherent concerns, right? I'm not so oblivious to those concerns, but I just believe in what JJ Redick is and what we've seen from JJ Redick, from player to podcaster to, analyst to everything. He is just full-fledged, almost OCD to an extent on just all those little things, where Darvin Ham was the opposite. One of the big reasons why Darvin Ham ended up getting fired was his lack of preparation. And it was a big reason why he wasn't a good head coach, right? I talked heavily about the box, right? I'm sure many of you have heard me talk about Darvin Ham. And as long as he could stay in his little box, right? He only knew what he was taught by Mike Budenholzer, right? And as long as he didn't have to get out of what he knew, then he was great at times. I mean, seriously, he was very good. There were the in-season tournament to last year's playoffs, not this previous playoffs, but the previous year against Memphis, against the Warriors, against Steve Kerr, right? Like, he had these runs where it was just like, man, okay, like maybe there's something here. But then he'd run into a team like Denver and Mike Malone, and he'd have to get out of his box. He'd have to get out of his comfort zone, and he didn't know what to do. And the problem was he never prepared enough to know how to get out of his comfort zone. He never practiced enough to get out of his comfort zone. He never did the things necessary to evolve and adapt as a head coach. And that's where I think JJ will really thrive, right? He is a sponge in a lot of ways, and he wants to learn, and he wants to do those things. Remove JJ from the conversation for a moment, okay? Just look at the rest of the coaching staff, right? Harding to Scott Brooks, and you have Nate McMillan, right? Like, just look at what this roster's makeup is from a bench and coaching standpoint, right? You have different minds, different perspectives. You have different outlooks, right? Lindsey Harding was an excellent G League Coach of the Year type that was beloved by her players, that is coming in and giving different outlooks, different perspectives, that worked under different head coaches. Same thing with Nate McMillan. Same thing with Scott Brooks, right? And then look at Darvin Ham's coaching staff and keep Darvin Ham on the staff. Where is that experience? Where are those different outlooks? Where are those different little opinions, right? Like Darvin Ham was originally supposed to get various assistant coaches that were former head coaches. Darvin Ham didn't want that. JJ was already open enough to understand, like, hey, I mean, he even said it in his presser. Look, I'm not, so egotistical that I don't understand the situation here. And that is a huge step in stride in and of itself beyond Darvin Ham, right? Like, so to me, I do have a lot of faith and belief in JJ Redick. Will he have his hiccups? Will he have his little moments? I'm sure, right? He's a first-year head coach. I don't know if everything's going to be perfect. I'm not really worried about the on-court stuff. I'm not really worried about the practices. The team is already, all the coaches are already working with the players. Jeannie Buss talked about this. That, yeah, training camp hasn't opened, but guys are in, guys are working out, guys are doing their thing, and the coaching staff is there working with these guys, devising plans. JJ is up there just changing stuff and fixing things based on things he's seen. Like, you're seeing the mold for what this roster and this team could potentially be. Now, obviously things could change via trades or whatever, but you see the plan already starting to take effect, already be in motion. And JJ Redick is already ready to implement just intense, high-powered practices, which I think will go a long way. You need the preparation. You need to work on those things. You need to work on little different situations. Right? If you don't work on those things, then how are you prepared for when those moments come? Right? There's always going to be elements and things that you're never going to be able to replicate. You're never going to actually be able to replicate an actual NBA game and sequence, right? You could run scrimmages every day. You could go and scrimmage against, another team. You could do whatever you want. It's never going to be the same as an actual NBA game where the players matters, the games matter, the winning matters, like all those things. There's so many factors that go into that, right? Like, you see players all the time playing in like the Drew League or here or there or whatever. And it's never it's not intense. It's not like what it is in the NBA, the physicality, all those things. But you still want to prepare yourself. You still want to put yourself in certain game environment situations so you're more comfortable when you get there, right? Like Kobe was notorious for just being relentless in practice, like to the point where it was just like practice was miserable. He has 5 championships. So obviously something worked, right? And you saw guys improve, you saw guys get better, right? And the ones that didn't, they were out the door, right? Like, again, development is not just for the rookies. It's not just for the new guys coming in. Not just for the Dalton Knechts, the Max Christies, the Jalen Hood-Schiffinos. It's for the LeBron James, the Anthony Davis, the D'Angelo Russell, the Austin Reeves. That's why even on Ask the Lakers show, I've really talked about how I believe JJ Redick can impact several of the players, and I'm kind of going down the list of players that I think JJ Redick can really impact, right? Once we get closer to training camp, I'll do full in-depth breakdowns on each individual player here on this channel. It's just right now, again, we're still a month away from training camp, and I don't want to start really heavily diving into stuff and then half the players are gone. I know a lot of people don't think a trade is going to happen. It might not, but I don't want to do all this work and do all this stuff and then it's just oh, well, that was pointless. Now I got to do this again, right? I got to start all over. So I will get there, I promise, right? I know a lot of people really want me to kind of break down the basketball side of things and the little nuances in that, and I will, and I'll get there in probably about another 2 weeks or so as we get about a week and a half away from training camp. I also want to see if the trade rumors start to pick up a little bit once we start getting closer to training camp, because I do think that they will start picking up, but we'll see. Time will tell. But we need to practice. And we need to have some good, hard practices, right? Obviously, you don't want guys to get hurt. Obviously, you want things to be within reason. But practice is important. Practice is significant. Even the little, AI rant, right? Where we talk about practice, right? How many championships does AI have? They didn't take practice serious, right? And I know that might sound, and it's more to it than that. I know that might sound a little like really like, but it is like practice is important, right? Taking everything about your job serious is important. You know, if you're laxed on one side, you're probably going to be laxed in other areas, right? Or you're not going to have the preparation in other areas, or you're not going to have worked on the things that were needed and necessary for certain situations and whatnot, right? Like I want to see the Lakers have hard practice. I want to hear those reports. I want to get those reports that like, man, practices are intense, right? I want JJ to really kind of just get in these guys, pause. But, you know, like I do, I want to see JJ really kind of, you know, hit it home, right? Like, and just make them work, right? Because, you know, if you're overly prepared for practice, like if practice is more intense than the games, then the games become nothing, right? Like, you know, I even had a coach one time growing up where, you know, he'd say like, you know, hey, you're going to be prepared. You might not be the best team. You might not be the most athletic. You might not be the this, that, and the other, but you're going to be the most prepared. You know, I had another coach that was conditioning, and that was the speech. It was like, hey, you're not going to be the most athletic team, not going to be the best team, but you'll be the best conditioned. You're going to be you're going to be able, they're going to be tired and you're not, right? Like, those are the kind of things that I want to see translate to this Lakers team, you know? Like, I want them, you know, even if you're not the best team, you're going to be the best prepared. So when you get into those tight situations and those tough moments, you know, preparation can go a long way and really take you over the top. And it does. I mean, again, like, I played against teams that we should have lost to and probably gotten blown out, ended up beaten because we were just more prepared, right? Like, preparation is very key, very important, and that's why I think JJ is going to thrive. Now, granted, that was in a past life. Now I got the dad bod. Now I'm, you know, many of you know I'm Mr. Dad, so you know it's one of those things where it's like it's just a different world, right? But still, like practices are important, right? You got to go a long way. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you think, yes, practice is very important? You really got to hit home, hit hard on practice. Do you think like, nah, like, you know, like just show up, play, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.